This video is proudly sponsored by DigimonCard.io for all your Digimon card, deck building, deck list, card pricing, and discussion needs. Hey everyone, Eggman here with another video, and today we have the Digimon Top 16 deck list from the PlayTCG Digimon Regional that happened at Akon this past weekend. Shoutouts to PlayTCG for giving me the list to give to you guys, specifically Robo Sushi as well for giving me some additional help with that. I do appreciate it. And real quick before we start, if you guys enjoy these video breakdowns, these deck lists, these documents that I do, please consider hitting that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. There's a lot of work that goes into these. And I do know like less than half of the people who watch these videos are subscribed to me with YouTube analytics. So it would really mean a lot and just support the channel. So please consider doing that. But getting into the actual tournament. So this was 128 players, best of 3, and no mulligans and no side for this tournament too. And we are seeing, I would say, probably like the core of the meta for what this is. We've been going through this meta for a little bit. This is still like the first weekend of the, I guess, standard regional rules with that and BT8 being released and with the Star Deck 9 and 10. So this was going on at the exact same time as the Top Cut webcam regional that was going on too, that I was playing in. And I would say this had a more conservative of archetype breakdown. And that's kind of, I would say, more to this being an IRL event. Something that I've noticed too, based on, having more of webcam events and having the comparison between the two, is that normally if people are at a real life event, they play something a little bit safer. There's a lot more of an investment to go to in-person events, right? You have to be there. You have to, get hotels. You have to, there's a lot more travel involved with that. And because of that, people tend to not play something super crazy compared to kind of just playing the tried and true decks that they're more used to. So that's just my little insight on it of why there's not maybe as much diversity based on it. But I think all of these decks are pretty much what are doing well right now. Imperialdramon obviously is doing very well. Yellow Hybrid is doing fantastically and always, it's been for a while. We do have a blue hybrid that made it in. We have some Mastemon list and also another DNA armor. We're going to talk about this. It's kind of it's really funny. It also got 12th place, and it also got 12th place, and it's pretty similar to the build that I ran and got 12th place at the same time for the Top Cut event. So I think that's kind of interesting, and I think there's more of an in between like a armor rush and an Imperialdramon, that there's like a happy medium that I think people can invest into and it will do well. But let's go over the list themselves. So starting off, we do have Edwin Rodriguez's first place Yellow Hybrid. And I mean, I don't really have much to say about Yellow Hybrid list. They are and this is not an insult to the players, because I would say this is more of a player deck than a deck builder's deck. But this is the same like 45-6 cards we're seeing. I'd say like the decision points for a lot of this are what your top end looks like, if you're adding any additional level 5s, and if so, if you're any additional level 6s. Susanomon is almost always the best top end, and at least top end. Then also just how many Wyvern Breaths, Eden's Javelins, and Yellow Memory Boost you're running, as well as Tamers. So this build, they're playing TK Kari, which has been a little bit less, like this has been like the flex tamer for a lot of people. It's so easy for you to have way more security than your opponent, and because of this will do not a lot besides just giving the -1, but Cody is fantastic, DK is fantastic, Zoe is fantastic too. And that's really it. And I guess the other decision point, if you're running Upamons or Cupidons, which ones you're running it for. But this is a strong deck. It's still going to be strong for a long time. A lot of people are saying that they want Jet Sophie to 1. They don't really do erratas in this game, but I would say the errata that I would want from this is just to make it, if you have 5 or less security and you can recover. So if you have 6 or 7, you can't recover more. And I think that would at least help. I don't know if it'd do much of anything, but I know a lot of people are asking for this card to get hit, and I will say it is very obnoxious, and I understand why that would be the case for that. So I don't know if that's going to happen, but it is very demoralizing to see like your opponent just slowly build Tamers, and then it just gets them a bunch of value for the entire game, and you can't really interact with that. So there are some ways, but they're very limited. But anyways, congrats to Edwin for their first place finish, and no doubt we'll see more Yellow Hybrid in the future. Next up, we do have Matt Asdbaugh's third place Bond Hybrid. So this is more of the, this is bond version of Blue Hybrid in a lot of ways. There's the Bond of Friendship. There's also a single Magna Garurumon too, if you want to go into that. And so this is still like the stuff we're seeing, but it's a more, I would say, aggressive or like kind of OTK version of it. So being able to, you know, use your mat and like just in general, being able to push mat out to draw one and gain a memory from the Gabus are fine. I think the bond engines, both the blue one and the red one, are good for what they're doing. They're just in general being able to get some additional, like they're worth being put into other decks because you get some extra card draw, you get some more memory, and for doing stuff that you're already kind of doing, and that kind of feels good. And it has like a potential end game condition if you need to, but not much more to say there. Obviously no new cards from PT8 for this build, but still strong, and congrats to Matthew for that. Next up, we have Michael PrimitiveTCG, Fladung's top 4 Imperialdramon. And we're starting to see some diversity in these Imperialdramons too, which are like I like to see. So like this single Magna and going into Chimeramon is one. I mean, Chimeramon's always been a choice for this kind of stuff. Additionally, Primitive has made a video on this, so I'll link it in the description if you guys want to see it. And he'll probably go over it in better, you know, it's just better than I would since it's his deck. But a lot of individual and interesting choices for this build. So like a single jamming Vmon, 2 of the draw ones when you get unsuspended. You are also playing like the Mega Death at 3. You're playing Hidden Potential Discovered, a Mimi. Yeah, a lot of individual card choices, and no doubt a lot of good reasons for doing so. And yeah, I don't have much after that, but I think it's it's a strong build. Like I think like this is definitely like a milled between like a DNA armor and a like a regular DNA deck too. So it's really interesting to see how many different ways you can build Imperialdramon. It's you know, you run like 50% of the same cards, but compared to like a yellow hybrid where it's like 45 of the same cards, there is some flexibility, and there's some cool kind of decision points that people get to make on deck building. So congrats to Michael, and again, check out his video if you want to see more about his decision process and how the tournament went. Next up, we have Thien Nguyen's 6th place Mastemon. So using this, this is also like I'd say the most interesting version from the day, specifically using the Metal Garurumon promo. So this is an older card, but did kind of have a deck list around it. Main Digiburst 2, you can trash 2 cards and then use a purple option card with memory cost of 7 or less in your hand without paying its memory cost. So it is 7 or less, but there are some good cards such as a Flame Hellscythe or a Underworld's Call that you can use for free. Using this, you can play a 4 from your trash. So you can play like a Godamon or like even a Black Godamon. Gadamon's just kind of the better one, I'd say, just because you get to look top 3 for cards, and then you can Digivolve for 1 with Lady Devi, and then from there you can just go into another Mastemon. So like this is, I think, like a good way to go like a double chain. So like if you go up your chain to Metal Garurumon, it's still your turn. You're able to use its effects to play some cards for free, and then you can go Godamon into like Lady Dev into like another like just hard cast like a Magna, or even just use Flame Hellscythe with the Metal Garurumon to play a Magna, and then you just go into like a Mastemon from there. So it looks really solid. It looks like a good game plan, and there's some interesting choices too. So I do like that. I do like Candlemon as a rookie too. I've been kind of wanting to use this since you do get like another memory when you do things. So you know, once per turn, when you play another purple Digimon, you get to gain a memory. So if you use Metal Garurumon's effect on Underworld's Call, you play a Godamon or Black Godamon, you get to gain a memory from there. And I think that's kind of helpful and for what it does too. So interesting build. I like this version of it, and congrats to their 6th place finish there. And then the last deck we're going to talk about today is Juan Villa's. I call it DNA Armor. If he has a different name, I'm sorry. And if you guys think this still is too much of an Imperialdramon to be put into a different slice, you can let me know that too. But I think this is a little bit more different. And it's kind of, I mean, if anything, I lean it more towards like an armor deck than an Imperialdramon deck, just because it doesn't run like the Imperialdramon. It just has the Imperialdramon as the top end. And man, this is such a good card. Like being able to play 2 cards from underneath it is so devastating sometimes, especially like when one of them can be a Magnamon with a 7K blocker, and it's just so oppressive too. So I would say if I was to compare it to the build that I was running at the same time for different tournament, there's a little bit less rookies, and there's no blue memory boosts, which is interesting from like a consistency standpoint there, just because there's not a lot of cards from that. There are some mega deaths too for some removal, which I think this could be a good card for it. There's a hidden power potential discovered, which I have since that tournament added to my build. I think this is just better. And he's did the thing that I was planning on taking out after the tournament. No armor textures in this list, and after playing the tournament too, I found like that card did nothing for me. So I think putting a hidden potential discovered for one of those is a good call. And it's really interesting too that they go with Shakuamon as their level 4, or as their level 5, but they don't go into Imperialdramon. They just go into Chimeramon instead, which I thought was interesting. Chimeramon is strong though, but it's just very kind of unsearchable for the deck. There's no way to find it off the Davis, so you kind of have to just or through the Vmon, or through either Vmon too, since it doesn't have the free trait and it's only one color. So you have to just hard draw into it. But this deck does draw quite a bit, so that's not too hard to do. It's just something you have to be considerate for. But yeah, it's great for fixing like putting a Lydramon underneath your Chimeramon, make it blue-green, and then you can go into Imperialdramon Dragon mode. This has to play one blue level 4 lower and one green level 4 lower from it. So you can't just do like a Magnadramon and Flamedramon into Shakuamon and then go into this and play both of them underneath it. You have to play green. So being able to have Chimeramon later to kind of fix that, if you found one Lydramon earlier, not later, to put it underneath it, then go into the Dragon mode and play it for free is kind of nice. There's also the Incluyomon. So this can be, it's like the Stingmon, but for yellow. So when playing this card for your hand, reduces play cost by 1 if you have a blue Digimon in play. Inheritable, once per turn if you have a blue Digimon in play, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 3k DP for the turn. I might consider adding this to my build too. It is just like a cheap play for it. You can't search this in any way, shape, or form, but being able to like, even if this well, you can't go. I guess it has to be under Chimeramon. But yeah, even if you do Chimeramon into it, you give something like minus 3 or 4k, which is pretty easy, especially since there are some ways to have 4 colors underneath this. You can then swing with Incluyomon and then give it the additional minuses from there. So there's more like removal with the Inclio and Chimera package than what I was running with one Chimera and no Inclio. I was more of just kind of going big into Dragon mode, playing boys underneath it, and kind of going from there. But I do like this deck. I think like the hybrid version of it, not like hybrid, but hybrid as in like a mix between DNA and armor is good, and I think people are going to be kind of picking up on that in the next couple of weeks too. But that's going to be it for me. Again, if you guys want to see this document, is in the description of this video. And if you made it this far in the video and you're not subscribed, I don't know why. I've been talking about these cards for like 10 minutes. So you must like me or my content, so you better subscribe to it. And that's going to be it for me. So again, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And I'll catch you all next time.
Damn it.